Hello and welcome back to the Tarnished Badge, where each week I try to bring you another story about the Minneapolis Police Department and just Minneapolis in general. I don't know how many of you who are viewing these actually live in Minneapolis because none of our politicians do. That's why they don't care. They live in the outskirts of Minneapolis where they don't have this crime and the homeless people and trash everywhere and their property being broken into. And like I said, the last time after my property got broken into again on Christmas Eve, and I called the police and I told them that, hey, I'm just going to start protecting my property at whatever cost. And according to Minnesota statute 609.065, we have the right to use force to protect our property. If your life, your liberty, your family, your home is in harm's way because of the homeless people just constantly break it in, then you have the right to use deadly force. And one of those um, reasons to be able to use force is breaking and entering, which is a felony. If somebody is in the commission of committing a felony and breaking into your property, you have the right to use force. Maybe we all need to start purchasing taser guns or pellet guns or paintball guns. Because I don't want to kill them. They need to stay off of people's property. But more than that, the city needs to do something. Every day I go for a walk down Lake Street, and it is just, it looks like the city dump. Every sidewalk has got needles and trash piled 5 feet high, just garbage everywhere. And it's the same streets covered in this garbage that has been there for over a week. And the city doesn't even clean it up. They don't do anything at all. Why? I mean, if you're just going to be building fences everywhere to keep everybody out, I mean, all these vacant land and all these vacant buildings, and yet the homeless people are trying to get places to live. And so when they get kicked out of their homes, guess what they do? They come to our homes. They break into our garages. They break into our houses. They, in the middle of the day, just steal stuff right off our property, right underneath the camera, and they don't care. And do you know why? Because the police department tells them, hey, do what you want. We don't care. As long as you stay off of our property, do what you want. They don't arrest them. I mean, vagrancy, the last time I heard, was a crime. Misdemeanor or felony, doesn't matter. Breaking into somebody's property is a felony. But yet, when you call 911, they tell you, well, call 311 after the holidays or after the weekend because Minneapolis Police Department doesn't give a shit. So you call Minneapolis 311, and guess what? All they tell you is, that's not an emergency for us. Go ahead, go online and fill out a police report. And if somebody's interested and they think it's important enough, they'll get back with you. Oh, the last time I filed a police report, it took 2 weeks and nothing ever came of it because they don't care. I've said it before. Minneapolis Police Department could care less. That's why 90% of Minneapolis police officers don't even live in the city of Minneapolis. At least 90% of the officers that I've spoke to, they've all told me we don't live in the city of Minneapolis. And now you can see why. Because they don't want to be a part and have their houses broke into, their property vandalized. But hey, who cares, right? It's just people who live here who pay taxes that have homes and businesses. And Minneapolis doesn't care. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it 100 times. The only thing Minneapolis cares about at all is Minneapolis. I bet you Jacob Fry doesn't live anywhere near around here. Hell no. He's gonna live over in the ritzier part of town, in a gated community where there's no homeless. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call Minneapolis 311 and find out when I can get put on the line to have the city build a fence around my property. Because if they're not gonna take care of this homeless issue and people breaking into your property, they have to do something. But instead, they want to put it all on the residents and the people that live here. Protect your own property because we're not going to do it. So let's see what we can do when people keep breaking into our property and the police aren't doing anything and Minneapolis 311 isn't doing anything and the county isn't going to do anything. So let's see what we find out. City of Minneapolis. Y- Yeah, hi, Heidi. I have a rather serious question, and I don't know if there is a list, and if there is, how can we get put on it? I'm trying to find out since the city is putting up fences everywhere to keep the homeless off of the city's property. When are they going to start doing a list for people so that the city can pay to have the properties, people's homes protected with fences? Or are we required to purchase our own fences because the city doesn't want to do anything to help the residents that live here? Ma'am, my in the last 2 weeks, my house, my garage, my property has been broken into 4 times. Once was on Christmas Eve. I call 911. They say, oh, call 311 and file a police report. I call Minneapolis 311 and they say, well, that's not an emergency. So go online and fill out a police report. So we do that. How many times do I need to do that before the city starts taking this serious? Because every day people are going up and down my alley with their carts and their wagons, and they just come in. I got cameras out there, and the police did not even want to look at the cameras in Whittier. I mean, and the last time I called 911, I told them that if somebody comes on my property again, I'm going to use force to protect my property. And then she tells me, well, then you're going to get arrested. So we get arrested for protecting our property, but we can't get any help in protecting our property because all the city wants to do. I've gone through them 100 times and they've never done. When my house was being vandalized this summer, I called the police. They came out 7 times and they did nothing. Minneapolis crime prevention did nothing. Nobody even responded. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we have to spend $5 a square foot every 6 months, spending thousands of dollars a year because the city refuses to take care of this problem. I mean, I go for walks up and down Lake Street every day, and it's becoming the city dump. And it's been the same trash on the same sidewalks all week, and nothing's getting cleaned up. Nothing's being taken care of. There's homeless people smoking crack at every bus stop. You can't even wait at a bus stop anymore because they're all sitting there smoking crack, getting high. And the police just drive right by them. They don't do anything. Yes, she's the one I emailed her probably 50 times this summer and nothing happened. Okay. And do you know if there's going to be, well, can you tell me if there's any information on when the city is going to start cleaning up the neighborhood? When they're going to start opening these vacant buildings for the homeless so that they stay off of our property? So it's being cleared. So that means they're kicking everybody off of it and putting up another fence. I, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you and let you know that this call has been part of a live podcast called The Tarnished Badge and about the city of Minneapolis. So I do thank you for giving us all this information and that the city is not going to do anything about helping us protect our property. Thank you, and you have a great night. It's all been recorded. Thank you. Goodbye. So there you have it. She tried to tell me I do not have permission to record the call. However, guess what? Minneapolis or the state of Minnesota is a one party state. That means only one person has to know that the call is being recorded. As long as you're part of that conversation, you can record it. As long as you record it and then tell them. Because if you tell them that you're going to record it, they can say no. But if you just record it and don't tell them at all, then it's a one party state. You can record anybody, anywhere, anytime, anyhow, any way you want. And I'm telling you, people, do that. When you're in any kind of situation with the police, record it. With anybody, make sure you record it so that you have a paper trail, so that you can have something to go back on and say, no, this is exactly what she said. And you have their word right there on recording. That's why every time somebody gets pulled over, the police, they can't tell you you can't record me. Guess what? You can. Put it live on Facebook. Right then and there. People, we have to start protecting. We have to start being proactive in protecting our property. I don't know how. I can't afford to put 6 foot fences around my property. That's going to be thousands of dollars a month, or I don't know what's um, $4 a linear foot, and how many feet are around my property. And why should I have to put myself in a cage because the city of Minneapolis won't do anything? Because the police department, like I said to the operator, that police just go right past the homeless people at bus stops smoking crack. They go right past all the trash that's piling up higher and higher and higher. And guess what? They don't do anything. They do not care. They don't live in this community. They don't live in this section of town. So, like I said before, they're just going to tell us if you don't like it, move. If you don't like it, go find somewhere else to live. So, I mean, I, I'm just frustrated, and more people need to get frustrated so that this can finally start getting cleaned up because now there's nothing out there to help us. So, until next time, my friends, peace, take care of each other, protect yourself. No one else is going to.